And this is a tough spot to be in, though, for the Terran, because you've now, you've you've gone the wrong direction for most of this game. Now you're trying to make up for it, trying to expand, but now the Zerg is just too big. And this is the point where it's almost unstoppable, where you had to stop his economy earlier, not by fighting at his front, but by sneaky sneaks.
Sneaky sneaks. And one of the key aspects of that is that you need to force your opponent to not make drones. It sounds counterintuitive. Early game, they want to make drones. They don't want to make an army. You want them to make an army, which sounds weird. Why do I want my opponent to make an army? You do, because if they make less drones, if they make army, they have less larvae. And if they have less larvae, they can make less drones. If they make less drones, they're getting less money. And that's what you want. And you want to do that so much and harass them so much. You have to make so much army, kill drones when you can, that you're able to pull ahead by the skin of your teeth economically, because that's the only way to fight against Zerg. But we're going to get into that more as we continue.
Exactly. And so you have the tipping point of armies at that point where you can start taking out expansions. But let's move on to a second game to extrapolate on some more points.
Bloop.
GG for GG kind of.
GG.
All right, now we are on to game 2.
Yeah.
What we were talking about before of the weaknesses, which there's very few weaknesses to that economic.
It's really solid, and Fane actually executes in a very solid manner also.
And again, he executes in a solid manner and checks all those little details that makes it so hard to find a way in. So we're going to watch another game and talk a little bit more about someone who's now able to get in, and just ways of attacking this economic build, ways of getting and hurting the economy, because we know that engaging the army is kind
not
of futile.
The right way to go necessarily. It's more about larva, and the thing is, larva is something you really have to understand. It's like the zen.
It's the third resource, like you said.
It's the zen of fighting Zerg. If you can harvest the power of larva as Zerg, you will win. But if you allow your opponent to harvest the power of larva against you, they will defeat you.
What if it's like a Protoss versus Terran game?
You still need the power of larva.
You still need the power. Okay, cool. All right, so let's get to the game. Click. Same players, of course.
Yeah, one time, one do.
One time, one do.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's interesting to see. I wonder, do we know if this game came second?
Yes.
We know this came chronologically second, so it's interesting to see how a strong player like Grog is going to adapt to what he saw. And also interesting to think, as a little bit of a subtext to the metagame going on here, is that Grog played Zerg pretty extensively in the beta at one point, so he knows how the race works. How is he going to adapt now that he's back to his race of Terran in order to put the PP in the BB?
Whoa, in the BB?
In the BB.
Ew.
Yeah. Not the baby.
Yeah, not the baby. I know that. The BB. Yeah. So again, so far nothing new here, and I don't think we're going to see anything new as far as build order for Zerg on this time. So I want to focus more on Terran on this game.
Let's zoom in on the Terran, on the people.
Ooh.
On the Terran, let's zoom in. I'll let you zoom.
Really? I love zoom.
All the way in.
Don't vomit this time. No. Don't vomit.
So now that Guns Akimbo has to go clean up, I'm going to take over.
Cool.
Which is what I really always wanted to do. And tell you guys everything that's happening. And I don't know what's happening because it's Terran. Oh my god. Which actually,
I've been playing a bunch of Terran.
Yeah, no, this is actually why we both decided to play random. Because if you watch like some of our older videos, we're like, whenever we had to cast Terran, we were like, we're just gonna like talk about the weather.
And now there's Vikings.
So I decided to play random mostly to start playing Terran. We actually probably could have just both started playing Terran.
Yeah, that would have been easier.
But whatever.
Sometimes it takes a while to learn.
Yeah.
So Grog not going for any type of choke, because I guess he just understands that he's most likely not going to see a rush from Feint, because once again we had the exact same build. Again, this is what Feint does, and this is the problem sometimes too of using a same build over and over.
Yeah,
of
it does become predictable, but also when it's really strong, sometimes it doesn't really matter if it's predictable.
Exactly.
But also one other point and a reason why not to wall off on this map at this point in the game. It's also really hard to wall off on this map. It has a really
huge.
wide choke, and I know that as Protoss is that this map is a bitch to wall off on. So a lot of times it's better to just plan your placement to be like, oh, I'm just gonna play solid and not even really worry about walling off and take another route.
Just go solid.
Just go solid. Nothing's better than solid.
Nothing. Because the not solids,
They suck.
So we do have it looks like we are going for a very similar beginning, at least for Grog as well, with a Reaper coming out,
and that also very similar follow up of a factory.
And I want to note that we do have 2 gas pretty early, so we're gonna see something
I
that involves gas.
I would so love if Grog did what I wanted him to do last game and build a reactor on the factory and make double Hellions. I would love that so much.
You would love it.
I would make me orgasm.
Now, you know what's kind of really weird right now?
What?
That the Reaper's going the long way around.
Yeah, that is kind of really weird. Does Grog realize that you can jump over the rocks? Let's tell him. Whisper.
Yeah.
Go look at the rocks for a sec.
Grog.
Oh, actually, it's not that weird because
he's
he knows what he's doing.
He's going for
there
the BB.
happens to also be a overlord above the but it sadly there is a queen
with this
waiting
Reaper,
for him.
what are you doing? Please, no. I think he was rallied to this position. He did not know that it was there.
That was sad. But also, if he had gone over the rocks, he would have equally been spotted because there is a one of those flying things.
Yeah, those Coors Light banners.
Yeah, the Coors Light banners. There's a Coors Light banner over the thing, the bridge.
Okay, so now...
So let's see what his follow-up is. It's a early starport and a...
2 starports.
2 starports.
Yeah, so and now this is... Again, this might be what we were talking about before of going in for harassment. 2 starports, you can easily get some, I don't know, Banshees, Viking, anything. You get stuff in behind the army.
I'm interested to see what sort of add-ons he puts onto those starports. Because that'll be very telling as to what his plans are.
Now, for some reason, Faint's kind of freaked out a little bit right now. He's building a lot of spine crawlers.
Yeah, he definitely has more than he needs. I think he's a little bit worried about the fact that there's sort of a backdoor to his base, but there's really not a backdoor. I think he's just being overly cautious.
Yeah.
You don't need that many spine crawlers. You just need enough to get you rolling.
So now we do have Banshees and Vikings.
Yeah, it looks like he
with cloaking exactly as we had
built a tech
talked
lab
about.
on one of the things. So starports. So there's a tech lab which is allowing him to make Banshees. Interesting. Banshees are really strong and really good at economy harassment, which is what you want to be doing in this situation.
And now we don't have any
and now that's beautiful because he's going to clear the air route out of overlords before the Banshees even come. So the Zerg player won't even be able to see them coming. And, also, overlord harassment is just another awesome way of limiting Zerg's growth.
Exactly.
It's why Protoss built Corsairs in PvZ in Starcraft 1, which is a vulnerability that we didn't even discuss in the first game because it didn't occur to me. But you can totally hunt overlords to limit... So let's say...
limit drum production.
Not only drone production, but also unit production. Because let's say that was really the idea in PvZ in StarCraft 1, is that you built a lot of Corsairs. They could build as many drones as they want. I don't give a shit. Because when you try to build units, you're not going to be able to because I already killed all your overlords.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
So you're both getting capped on population, but you're also having to build overlords, wasting potential drone
larva on drones and more units. It forces you to spend your larva in another way. Essentially, still going back to the power of larva once again.
The power of larva.
We should make a theme. We should make like the theme song to StarCraft Empire be the power of larva.
Really?
Can you write it?
Yeah, man.
Let's do it.
It's in my head already.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm interested why these Banshees are just kind of chilling. I guess they're waiting for Cloak to finish, which it just did. But now I feel like I'm missing something. Like nothing's happening right now.
It's okay. It's build up right now. We can sort of check it out. Look at the production overlay and see that Zerg is building a bunch of Hydralisks, which is good. You know what? Honestly, I think that might be a flaw of getting too mechanical with a build. And I think it's good that he's building them because he did see those Vikings.
Yeah.
But you don't want to always, you don't want to say I'm always going to build 8 Hydralisks at this point. You want to adapt. Like, if you don't get pressured, don't build the Hydralisks.
Yeah, and so now...
If you get pressured heavy, build them earlier.
So, Grog coming into the undefended mineral line and just hitting him where it hurts.
He's going to take out pretty much all of those drones. And you know what? I'm going to call it at this point of the game, but we're gonna still cast it because I don't see how as Zerg you can come back from this. That's pretty devastating.
Lose all your drones at
Yeah.
this point. Now he's coming around to the expansion, and this does kind of fit with your point of transfusion's going on. That's great.
Yeah.
Of we were discussing getting too mechanical with a build. He wasn't building many units because he wasn't feeling pressured. So maybe that's why Grog was staying at bay, not pressuring him, letting him just keep droning up. He doesn't want units there when he sneaks into his BB.
Well played by Feint.